What is the deal, beautiful people? It's your boy, Uncle Rza. Let's talk about the Xbox One and its return to glory. And I say that in a very facetious way. Well, coming from my point of view anyway. Microsoft's done a lot to the Xbox One in the last 2 years. And I just sort of, before we get into the 2015 holiday season, I just wanted to have this conversation with you guys. I just wanted to recap, and I just want to sit back and appreciate the mountain of momentum that has been going on for the Xbox One. So, brief history lesson, from the announcement of the Xbox One, or the reveal, so to speak, things sort of went sour. And it takes someone that's been in it for a while, that's been paying attention to what was going on in not only gaming but technology, to really understand where Microsoft was coming from. You got to remember the Xbox 360 was revealed in 2005. I mean, that's 2 years before the iPhone came out, and that was well into the era where people were starting to pretty much buy into the idea of not buying physical media anymore. A lot of people did still enjoy CDs in that time, but as smartphones became a thing, and mostly everyone, the cool kids at least, had iPods, and whatever MP3 player they had if they didn't like Apple. Shout out to the Zune. They sort of stopped paying for music. This was when I was fresh out of college almost, and this is when Napster and Kazaa, digital media was a thing. It was well up and running, and the Xbox 360 was born in that era, but it still had to support a lot of what not only mainstream consumers but the less tech savvy consumers wanted, and that was physical media. That was CDs, it was DVDs. The thought of digital games did not come to well later in the Xbox 360's lifespan, I guess you could say. So coming off of that momentum, and really what makes the Xbox 360 such a successful product, and then you look at the competition like Sony and how they were killing it with the PS3, and the PS3 was such a media powerhouse. When you sit down to have a conversation amongst yourselves, if you were Microsoft, and not only figure out where the market was today, and where it'll be going forward, where it'll be when you launch the Xbox One, where it'll be 5 years after the Xbox One launch, some things really stood out, and one of them I could say was a physical medium, or physical media. It was interesting to see the response when rumors came about where they were saying that the Xbox One may not even have a tray for CDs or a physical disc. People lost their minds, and I thought that was so interesting. I was like, really? Because when was the last time you guys really bought anything pertaining to physical media? And I thought it was interesting. It's trust me, that's a whole nother video. It could be even a podcast. And then the whole digital disc thing came about, and it wasn't so much the digital disc or the digital game that really upset people. It was the rather obnoxious comment made by that one executive, who we don't even know his name. That's how bad it was. He got scapegoated. They pretty much said, these games that we're selling today are going to have DRM on the disc, and also the console is going to be online only. And people just lost their mind. And then my man went even further and said, hey, if you don't want to play on an online only console, then play the Xbox 360. And that was pretty much what threw it in a tailspin. This was outside of the Xbox, the joke, the TV. Microsoft didn't know what they were doing. They were trying to sell people a TV console or whatever, you know, people were saying. We all know what they were saying. Now, also, when you look at what made the Xbox 360 so successful is the fact that it was a jack of many trades, plenty of games, but it also did things that were very important to me and a lot of other people. You know, your Netflix, your Hulu, your entertainment, you can stream music to it, you can play music from it. This is, again, interesting how people sort of pushed back with these features. And I get it, the timing may not have been right, because this was the time to really showcase games, but they really wanted to showcase the technical media prowess of the Xbox One. I didn't really see anything wrong with that, but that whole tailspin got crazy, right? And there were a few things in there I thought was never fair from the get-go. It's one, I was super excited at a lot of the TV functionality. I thought that was super dope, because my split is literally probably 60-40, and I mean 60% of the time I'm consuming content on my Xbox. That's not gaming. So it was very important for me, and I could look on my friends list, and after a certain time I'll see tons of people doing the same thing, you know, watching Netflix, watching Hulu, Amazon Prime. So within my own ecosystem, and that's what you do, right? When poised with a question or you're trying to figure something out, you sort of look to your own bubble, to your experience, to make sense out of it. And when I looked to that, I kind of didn't see the people that would be upset. Now, this spawned the topic that Microsoft lost their way. They didn't know what they were doing with the games, and then the whole DRM on the Blu-ray thing made it even worse. This was one of the things I thought wasn't fair. One, the Blu-ray technology that's being used, or that was going to be used, is 100% coming from Sony. That that DRM on the disc and the ability to have a disc registered to a console once it's put in there, or registered to a specific gamer tag, that's all made possible by Sony's Blu-ray technology. So the fact that Microsoft took such a huge rap for that was really interesting. It was almost frustrating. Like, are we talking to people with the ability to think? That was a lot of my takeaway from that topic. And then it was such a huge advantage to see what we were missing. You know, there is another side to that coin. Yes, it's, if I put a Blu-ray into the Xbox and it registers that disc to my account and the disc is now useless, what about the used game industry? And it was amazing to see an entire industry, or not say industry, an entire consumer base of an industry stand on their couch and yell and scream to support a company like GameStop. GameStop has been doing nothing but harm to not only the consumers, but the developers of these games for years. And at the first hint of trying to protect not only the content creator, but the content consumer, people were against it. I could not believe it. I was enraged. In fact, I did a lot of videos where you could visibly see the frustration. And then the advantages that we lost when dealing with that was just heartbreaking. I mean, they were talking dope shit like, you know, you put a disc in and you register it to your account. Whatever Xbox, or however many Xboxes your account is signed in on, that game follows you, and you do not need the physical disc to authenticate that game. That was so dope to me, because this gave me the freedom of both worlds, right? I can go on Amazon and buy a game for $30, something like Assassin's Creed that I would never buy day one, but I could buy it for $30 and then have it on my account everywhere I go, as opposed to the way it is now, where, you know, if I go on Amazon and I buy that game, on a physical media, when I put it in my Xbox, I have to install it anyway, and then it's not even accessible on any of my other Xboxes. I still need to get that disc and install it there, and then when I go to play it, it's asking for the disc. So if I go over to Snow's house, I gotta come with my disc. Like come on, guys. It's seriously 2014. We shouldn't have to be doing things like this. And then there's the possibility of, you know, when you're talking about a digital push like this, you're talking about possibly making things cheaper. So we lost a lot in that entire thing. And then there's the online only console argument. And to this day, one of the biggest games on the PlayStation 4 is Destiny, and you cannot play it without your console being online all the time. And there's so many other games like that. There's so many games coming down the pipeline that supports the same model. So why was Microsoft giving shit about it for being a technology forward company? It's so crazy to see that happen. But since then, Sony's been on this remarkable market jump. They have the mind share and they've got the market share, and they're selling PlayStations like hotcakes. And Microsoft seemingly found themselves in a position where they had to make changes and fast. I think the first notable change was definitely unbundling the Kinect. Even though they said they couldn't, they found a way to do it, and they did it. And that dropped the price. And, you know, even that is an interesting conversation, where people try to argue that the Kinect did not show its value at $100 extra for the cost of a PS4. And you know, I hear quite the opposite today. People who took advantage of the cheaper versions of the Xbox or the bundles, they, you know, you're in a party with them and everyone's screaming Xbox record that, and they want to do it too, and they're just like, wow, I would love to be able to say Xbox record that. I would love to be able to come home and say Xbox on and not have to reach for 3 different remotes. You know, it's just like, guys, they knew what they were selling. They had a game plan, you know. It sucks to see it just unfold that way, but reversing the stance on the Kinect was another one. I think the track record that they showed from day one, the quality of games, you know, I think the only game that wasn't bulletproof was probably Rise. That was an ass of a game, and I think with the Forzas and the Titanfall, Microsoft really captured the first year. They captured the vote for quality of games, even though the competition was saying they had the quality of games, they didn't. And interestingly enough, at the end of the first year, the competition was saying they had the quantity of games, and they didn't. And then that momentum carried over to year 2. To this day, the Xbox has more games and higher rated games, and not only that, the point of a console is exclusives, and the Xbox One has been delivered more exclusives than the competition. So there's, you know, that we take a step back and we look at the little iterations between there as well. Things like the preview program, where, you know, people get to try out the newest update first before it was made available, leave feedback, and then there's forums where you can go and vote for your favorite features you would like to see in the upcoming updates, and the commitment to monthly updates, to adding in features like DLNA that wasn't there, wide-eye streaming, the ability to stream your Xbox, or your Xbox, your games, I should say, from the Xbox over to your PC thanks to Windows 10, the availability to have over-the-air TV, the availability of of the Pro controller that's coming soon, the availability of the DVR features. Like there's so much that went on there. I think one of the other doper ones too was they did away with that family pack, and they just said, listen, if you've got one main account, you can have up to 5 names under there that's free. So that was a big one for a lot of people. The commitment to spending less money securing third-party quote-unquote exclusives and actually developing first-party titles, I thought that was a dope one. I mean, there's so much that the Xbox has gone through since day one. I think it's amazing, and I think if you sit back and really look at what Microsoft has done to this product from day one and the commitment that they have made to it, I think it's dope. I really think it's dope. And it's the ultimate I told you so to the people who went out and they spread the slander that Microsoft no longer deserved their money. They didn't know what they were doing, and they went and bought a PlayStation off the fact that they thought Microsoft didn't have a game plan. I think it's the ultimate I told you so to those people. And you know, to those people specifically, I think they're missing out. And I can't be upset at people for making a decision based on their rationale, but it's clear that the Xbox One is a huge commitment to Microsoft, and they've been putting in a lot of work, and they got a lot of work left to put in. In fact, I read an article today where one of the executives pretty much said that they were doing stuff on the Xbox One that simply can't be done on the PlayStation 4. And a huge part of that, he was talking about the backwards compatibility, you know, and that's a very real thing. In fact, if you would disagree to that, you pretty much just need to step out of that rationale and look at the Gaikai or whatever they called it. They rebranded it to PlayStation Now. You know, Sony went and spent $380 million for that technology, and when I tested it three weeks ago, it was terrible. The input lag it just made the games unplayable. Meanwhile, Microsoft flipped a few switches, a few lines of code, and now there's backward compatibility. Like these are valid statements, and I feel like I'm not exactly sure that the Xbox will ever catch the PlayStation in units sold, but I think they definitely turned the corner where doesn't matter what your preference is, you need to recognize, or you would have already recognized, that one of these companies' efforts is stronger than the other. And I think that's very true of the Microsoft side. And I'm not discounting Sony on anything that's coming or anything they're doing. I'm just saying, you poke a giant, you know what to expect. But anyway, it's your boy Uncle Rza. Sorry for the long ass video, man. We've been trying to cut back on the long videos, but I think this was a special one, a nice little recap. The Xbox comeback. Let me know how you feel about that. Like the video if you like it, help us grow, share it with your people, leave a comment below, join the conversation. I want to hear from you if you agree, and I especially want to hear from you if you disagree. Let's get it popping. I'm out of here. Peace.